There are three main reasons why you can have a clot in the veins. If you have one or more of these, your risk is increased from having one of them, two of them, three of them. There are actually proteins in your blood made by the liver called clotting factors. These favor clotting. Now, forming clots are not necessarily a negative thing. When you get a hole or an injury to any of your blood vessels, a clot is supposed to form there to stop blood from being lost. Increase the number of these clotting factors in an abnormal way. I will give an example of each of the three that I'm going to talk about to you in this video. I'm going to call this increased clotting factors. So it means that if you have, this is normal, if you have 4 clotting factors, I'm using arbitrary numbers, and cancer, for example, causes you to have 4 more clotting factors, it increases your chances of a clot forming. The second one is injury to inner lining of the vein. Veins, most of the time, have this general shape. The inner lining is nice and smooth, much like a brand new piece of PVC pipe. When there is injury to the inner lining, the layer just underneath that smooth lining is not as friendly as the normal part of the lining. It's very sticky, and as blood, I'm going to draw the vein lengthways. So you have your sticky parts of the lining here. You can imagine that when a red blood cell trying to carry oxygen, platelets, other little fragmented cells, are trying to get from point A to point B, these sticky surfaces cause these red blood cells to get stuck, as well as the little platelets. Platelets are fragment cells that try to stop bleeding as well. And when that happens in a particular area too much, more fragmented cells and more red blood cells get packed up in a particular area. Now remember that veins from previous videos have valves. I should draw these valves going this way. When blood flows this way, these sticky endings, surfaces, accumulate in the areas where there are valves as well. And so a clot forms in this area, sometimes blocking it entirely, sometimes obstructing it partially. So an example of this is having major surgery, such as to the abdomen or even in the legs. So we've looked at increased clotting factors, injury to the inner lining of the veins that increase the risk of a clot or a thrombus forming. The third one that Virchow found was slow or stagnation flow. If you've ever seen a canal at the side of the road and it's flowing very slowly, there's enough time for mud, silt, a stone, and other particles to easily just swing onto the side of the canal and hold on right there. And it causes a buildup over time. This is called stagnation flow or slow flow. And it increases the risk of a clot forming, as you can see by the diagram. And if this were a vein and blood were flowing this way, it's going to start slowing down at the level of the valves. They're going to get very sticky, hold on to the valves, and eventually a clot is going to form in there. A good example of stagnation flow is along airplane flight. And you've probably heard that when you go on an airplane, get up and stretch your legs, get the circulation going, or wear compression stockings. So all three, that clotting factors increasing, injury to the inner lining of the veins, as well as slow flow, increases anyone's risk of forming a clot in any vein, whether it's a superficial vein or your deep veins.